Welcome to this edition of the season 3 of the Vox Talks. And I'm delighted that you're tuning in from wherever that might be, morning, afternoon or evening, and that you're going to be enjoying this talk from one of our amazing alumni. This is a lovely young man who's currently dialing in from Exeter, and I'm going to let him talk about what he does. Just a quick reminder though, this season's all about trying to upskill the information young people and adults have about how to convert their education into a real career that they are invested in and that they really enjoy. So I think you're going to enjoy this talk. If you've got any questions or things that you'd like to send through, put them in the chat box below or send them through to us at the Hot House team and we'll get them over to the guest and he'll respond in due course. So ladies and gentlemen, my very great pleasure to welcome Mr. Ben Edwards. Morning, Ben. How are you, sir?
Morning. Yeah, very well, thank you. Thank you for the very kind introduction.
No, not kind at all. Absolutely true. So it looks like you've got nice weather down in Essex at the moment. Exeter at the moment.
Yeah, it's on and off. It's sort of blowing in, I think, from the coast. So it's a bit unpredictable. You step outside the door and then you find yourself drenched or in sunlight. So one of those days.
I really appreciate you being able to do this with us today, please, Ben. It's been lovely. So if you wouldn't mind just telling the viewers at home what you do, who you are, what you do at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment I'm working for a company called Albion. We're a small investment management firm based down here in Exeter. We've got an office down by the quay, which is quite nice and yeah, very refreshing place to be. We work with financial advisory firms around the UK and then a couple of firms abroad in Hong Kong and Norway as well. So all very, I guess, research based, all focused around things like pensions. That's what our clients who advise themselves do. And so what we're doing is very, as I said, research based, really getting into the detail around the investment piece. And that's really where I am now, having come through from at school, focusing probably, I enjoyed maths. That's probably one of my favourite subjects at school. Going through university, I studied physics at the University of Southampton, and then didn't want to go down that route, so I ended up in the financial route. So
that sounds very good. For those mums and dads out there that are not quite au fait with investment management, in a nutshell, is it just pensions or is it basically research into a whole variety of investments? What is your daily job really? Yes,
well, the whole financial industry is so broad. It can be anything from, internal accounting in firms, so to the bookkeeping, that's one area of finance. Then it's all the way over to property investment, can be short day-to-day trading of stocks and shares, the stuff you hear about in the news. What we do is typically more long-term investment. So we're just trying to work out what people can do with their money if they want to put it away for a certain amount of time, whether that's sort of drip feeding savings into things like pensions or saving accounts like ISAs, those sorts of things. So that's what we're doing. And then what we're helping our advisors to do is make sure that their clients who are end investors feel comfortable with what they've got and there's no surprises, anything like that. So we're there as, I guess, as they're our clients' eyes and ears in the investment industry to make sure that there are no surprises and we can just stay on top of the portfolios themselves.
Sounds great, man. It sounds really good. I'm just wondering that Albion as a company, is it quite an old company, a well-established company, or is it one of the new ones that's coming onto the market?
It was founded in the early 2000s by my boss, the managing director, Tim Hale. He came over having worked in the States, Hong Kong, and then came over to the UK, and then at the time was working with family offices in the US, and then started working as the financial advisory industry, which has come a long way in the UK from probably what a lot of people would think about a financial advisor, maybe pinstripe suit and sells you insurance. But nowadays it's more about working out what you want to do with your life and the best way in which you can try and fund that lifestyle that you want to lead. And so that's what all of our clients do, is trying to help their clients who are people, everyday people, just achieve what they want to do with their lives. And so part of that is having to put some of that money away and working out how long you might need to put it away for and what you might need to do with that money to try and achieve what you want to do in life.
It sounds good, man. And I'm particularly interested in the bit about when you work with clients in Hong Kong and internationally? Because one of the aspirations for us is we've got, hopefully we've got an HQ opening up in Singapore, not too in the distant future, which means that'll be our sort of Pan-Asian HQ. So, do you have any personal contact with those clients over in Hong Kong and in Asia?
Yeah, we've not. I think the boss went out when he was on holiday, just went in to drop by. But with these days, we've been working with the firm for a couple of years now. So we started doing everything by Zoom, just because it's a lot easier. You can just pick up the phone essentially and connect immediately. Albeit we have to start quite early and they're quite late in the day. But yeah, just it's so easy these days to do it this way. You don't necessarily need to travel out. So maybe one day it'd be great to go out and visit them over there in Hong Kong. But everything so far has been virtual. So.
Yeah, I think it's amazing.
But yeah, it's good to do it, and it's really interesting getting that insight across just a completely different part of the world.
Yeah, the cultures are so diverse and, not diametrically opposed in any way, but just, it's a different sort of experience. And I think the travel for the kids that are going through Hot House at the moment it's one of those aspects where they like seeing different things and different people. So, very exciting that you get to work with those sorts of clients overseas. If I can I just come back to your university choice? Was there a reason why you opted for Southampton?
When I went to university, I had quite a keen interest in astronomy and that side of physics. That didn't end up being the path I went down. In fact, I actually ended up moving away from that more into the mathematical side. But that was just, I guess I didn't know until I got there and really got into the nitty gritty of it, which way I wanted to go. That was one of the primary reasons I chose Southampton. Also, I really liked the university. There was lots of stuff going on. There's a big sports focus, music focus as well. There was lots going on in that space. And it was one of those, it's sort of just felt right, finger in the air in a bit of way. It wasn't overly scientific to choose that based on some complex matrix. It just felt right, and did really enjoyed it. And met some really great people there.
I think that's very cool. I don't think a lot of people know, but Southampton and Portsmouth, there's a massive sport and music scene down on the south coast, isn't there? It's a really great place. The environment's nice, the climate's good, the people tend to be really friendly, and I think there's lots to do. So would you find that your time at Southampton, you look back now and think it was a good choice?
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone says that anyway, wherever you end up going, because everyone thinks about it, and the only person that knows as much about it that's going to be suited to you is yourself. And you end up worrying about it. And I've been there worrying about whether it was the right decision to make, and then you come out the back of it just think, and that it was the right decision. So definitely really enjoyed it. And as I said, met lots of great people through things like sporting opportunities that were there. So football and other sports things doing, and then also little bands as well.
Did you get to do any snowboarding or any societies while you were at Southampton?
Yeah, I was in a range of societies, sort of some of the more random ones. I think where snowboarding had picked up was I didn't actually ever go on the ski trip, because I picked up snowboarding a little bit earlier and then didn't do too much of it throughout uni. So snowboarding has been something which I've been doing a lot more since university, and have been on trips with a lot of mates. So we just got 12 of us, where not sort of friends of friends, lots of mutual friends, and then we go and have this week together where we all get to know each other and hurl ourselves down the mountain. Absolutely love that. Just sort of missing it, to be honest, at the moment.
Yeah, me too. I mean, we're trying to learn how to ski properly, and I think the one thing that we can't do is go outside, and that's awful. But that will sort itself out. So, just a little bit about how did you get to Albion from the university? What was the pathway through?
It was one of those things that, like, I end up in Exeter. I never thought when I was growing up, not too far from Derby, that I thought I was going to end up in Exeter. That was never like the pathway I imagined myself getting to. It's just one of those things that just how it happened and how the cookie crumbled. And I, through a contact, they had just engaged with Tim, my boss, and started working with them. And I'd sort of said, maybe finance. Again, now realizing how broad that statement was, I was like, maybe finance, that sort of thing. And he said, just drop him a line and maybe, because at this point I was in second year of university, still not really sure where I wanted to go. And so I dropped in a line, then ended up getting a Skype interview where I turned up in a suit and everything, and the boss was there in just a polo. So I was massively overdressed, which I'm still convinced got me the internship. But yeah, turned up for the internship, which went really well. That was in my summer of second year, so before my final year at university. 3-month internship went really well, and then after university came back, and then at that point was offered the job on my return. So yeah, and I've absolutely loved it. It was one of those, I always imagined if I wanted to do finance, I was sure I was going to go to London. That was really it just seemed like they went hand in hand, but I actually, now in hindsight, it definitely doesn't need to be that way at all. So
that's really great advice, actually, that, you know, you can make a career in the chosen field in lots of different places around the world. It doesn't have to be where you think London. And same for music as well. You know, music doesn't happen just in London. It happens all over the world. So I think that's a really useful takeaway there. I quite like that. The internship bit, was that a good experience for you, or was there moments where you're thinking,
Yeah, it was. It's something that I think actually works really well, because it's an interview is a very short amount of time where both the employer gets to know you. They've got this sort of 30-minute window where you're trying to do stuff that it can feel quite false in a way, because you're trying to tell them everything you can do in such a short amount of time. An internship is, well, however long it would be. This one was 3 months for them, employer to get to know you, to get to know the employer, whether it's somewhere you want to be, whether you like the work, whether you're suited to the work, those sorts of things. It worked really well. So everyone who's come on with us since then, so we've employed 2 more people since then, has done an internship, because it is that great opportunity for both parties, and it can work out for both.
Absolutely, so couldn't agree more. I think internships, apprenticeships are the way forward in today's world. It just gives everybody that chance to really get to know the person, and vice versa, because we don't want people working for us that don't want to be there. You know, happy people equals happy company. So really good. Well, I mean, this has been good. Let me see if I can tie it up though. Have you got any favorite memories of music, or any life lessons that you feel maybe have synergy with both areas?
Yeah, I think with the thing that music, I think one of the big things it gave me, because it's not in the musical industry at the moment, but there's a lot of things where, big one being the confidence. I think that I remember my first ever gig, I'd have been about 12 years old, 11 years old. So I was playing trombone in some Christmas gig at near John Port, where I was at school at the time. And I was so nervous. I think I got paid £5 for it as well. So I was pretty happy afterwards, but I was so nervous for it and didn't want to do it. But my mum and dad, who were themselves very good musicians, they sort of ushered me into it, and I did it. And that was like the first one of quite a few gigs I did throughout school, and then at university as well. So it's like, that's one of the big ones, definitely, the confidence. And also just having that knowledge and having the history of music. There's being at conferences, things like that don't happen so often these days, but having been at a few conferences, the amount of people where they're guitar players or brass players, whatever it would be, it just comes up in the odd conversation, and then it's sort of a good icebreaker, I think, at times, and you meet a lot of people that have a lot of sort of synergies with your life in that regard. So that's a real positive, I think. So yeah, there's literally sort of no downside, I'd say, to having done all of it, despite not necessarily wanting to go into music as a lifelong career choice.
You know, and I think that's really useful, isn't it? Because you're absolutely right. You've got to do things as a young person so that you've got something to talk about with people, whether you're at work, whether it's snowboarding or music, or whether you're at a conference, or whether you're just at the pub. You know, people need to communicate at some point. And so, you know, and I like the fact that, you know, you did music, but you weren't going to go into a career. You went to university thinking you were going to do astronomy, or, you know, you were thinking about maths or physics, and that didn't work out, and you went to maths. And then you thought finance, but you weren't going to London, and you ended up in Exeter, and you're happy, you're doing something that you really love, and you're doing great at it by all accounts. So, you know, thanks very much, Ben. I really appreciate that. And any of the viewers that are listening, you know, there's lots more questions that always come out once we've done a bit of a talk. So if you want to send those through to the team, we'll get them on to Ben. And I'm sure he won't mind if you reach out on LinkedIn. We're trying to encourage all of our young musicians to, you know, build a LinkedIn profile for their professional development. It's a really good idea. So it just leaves me to say thank you very much, Ben. We hope you have a great time back on the South Coast, and I look forward to seeing you when you hit home sometime soon. Thanks very much, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you all soon. Bye for now.